afternoon, folks, and welcome to our Tech Talk on Thursday, number 19 for 2021. I nearly forgot what year we're in. There are our provincial managers. If you do need to get hold of them, please get hold of them. You'll see them there on the screen in your provinces. Most importantly, right at the bottom, Riaan van den Bergh's details, and he's there on the screen as well. He's going to be coming through just now. I'm going to hand over to Riaan van den Bergh now. And yeah, over to you, Riaan.
Yes. Thanks, Paul, and welcome to our audience. So glad to see a lot of people engage in this process. I think what is important to see is that we're talking about something that's really an urgency and an issue for parents. Maybe just a little bit of background and a frame around it. My name is Riaan van der Bergh. I'm the manager of the FEDSAS Center for Technology, and we aim to address the technological advances in the use and integration, sensible use and integration of technology in the schooling, learning, management process in education. So that's what we aim for. I've got a little surprise for you guys. We've got a little competition running, and I know it's a lot of parents, but all parents are probably engaged in a school somewhere. If we have the first, well, we need the answer, and we will randomly select out of the first 10 answers, who was or what was the first video to play on MTV, and I think it's 1981. The first few people to answer there will go into a draw, and we will present, well, we'll make it available if the school wants it, a free inspiration session, tech talk session at the school for the teachers and the management. Okay, so let's get that going. We've had various talks previously with Be in Touch, Josh and Kate, and we've been engaged in 1 or 2 projects, and it's important to know what our kids and our learners are engaging with on social media. Social media wellness, preparedness. You know, we give a child a car after a learner's license or a license, but somehow we dish out phones and screens, and parents and educators and the schooling world is not so au fait with what's happening on there. And I think today's topic is critical for that. So Josh and I presented a workshop recently at SAELA, the South African Education Law Association, and also good reviews on the relevancy of the topic. So I thought, let's get it going today. I'm going to invite Josh onto stage. The fact that we've got such a high number of attendees tell us it's an important issue. Before I forget, I missed something on my little bullets. We want to just say a good shout out to the matrics that's busy with exams now, and the education world is standing still and focusing on this national senior certificate. So just give them all the thumbs up from the FEDSAS side. Josh, welcome. I'm going to give you the stage. Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. We call it the terrible trio, but maybe the worthwhile trio as well. There must be something good in it. But kids are in this world, and that's why my little competition. The answer is, I'm going to stop it now. The answer is video killed the radio star. So we've got a few people involved in that. But something happened with screen, movement, pictures, video. Tell us why it's so important to talk about this, Josh. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Riaan. It is so wonderful to be with you guys today. We are very excited to be partnered with FEDSAS and helping them helping us and us helping them make sure that our parents and our educators are staying on the right side of technology use. As you said, Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok can be very useful platforms if they're age appropriate and if they are managed in the correct way. So we're going to make sure that that is what you get out of today. We're here to talk about why parents and we are concerned about these platforms, what we can do about it. And just to let you know that in the chat, Kate, the co-founder of Be in Touch, is here. She's going to be answering some questions that you have. If you have any questions, chuck them in the chat. We're going to have a bit of a whirlwind in the next 40 minutes. We normally run these sessions as 30 minutes on each platform. So now we got 40 to 45 minutes to give you an overarching view, but then don't worry, you can come back to us. We'll go deeper into each one of these topics, and we look forward to sharing with you what we have discovered in our research and surveys, which I'll unpack in a moment. Just to let you know, at the end of this presentation, there will be a survey link that goes out, and the survey link is very important because it's going to help us help you. We're going to be taking you through some of our digital wellness survey results that we've discovered, and then talking about an amazing new parental control piece of software that can help your schools, and it's also for school systems. And then there's also a prize for everyone that completes that survey, which will be a 30-minute device advice call with me, Josh Ramsey, either for parents or for teachers in your school environment. We'll make that work. So I'm going to start the timer. We got 40 minutes on the clock. We're about to jump into this, and let's get going. We are very happy that you are here. You know, the fact that you're here and you're paying attention means that you've taken your first step, and we're going to make sure that you are partnered with the right people to get the information that you need as you go forward. It's amazing to see 146 people in the chat at the moment, which is fantastic. It shows us that this is important and that teens are dealing with it. In fact, all of these platforms that we're going to talk about today were dragged in front of the US Senate just yesterday, so it's very topical what we are talking about. The screen that I'm sharing with you right now is quite an important one, and these are live results that we've got over the last 2 to 3 weeks in the last 3 to 4 schools that we've worked with. And as you can see from here, we've got a major challenge. We've got kids, almost half of them having phones or tablets by age 10, almost more than 2/3 with their phones in their bedrooms at night. Almost 80% of them with no parental filters at all. Riaan was talking about, that license to drive your car or making sure that your child is equipped. 80% of them, no guide rails. Very shocking. And we're starting to see this more and more, that it is now stranger contact that is very worrying within the social media platforms at 76%. And then, of course, almost half of them exposed to pornography by the age of 12, which is, of course, just shocking. So online parenting is vital, and we know that this might be your first step, but we are here to make sure that you know what you can do about it. You're going to walk away with practical and effective next steps, and there's lots to cover. And today is just a wake-up, shake-up with some good advice. So there will be settings that we're going to go through that you can change on your child's devices, or mandate that your parents change on their children's devices if you're an educator. But at the end of the day, we're here to try and make keeping up with your kids online less challenging, and we're here to join hands with you and walk together with you through this journey. So why do kids love these terrible trio? And again, the word terrible meaning if it's used in a terrible way. Well, it's all about followers and likes. And what we know from the developmental science of teenagers is that teenagers are trying to individuate, right? They're trying to get status in groups. They want to be the leader. They're trying to get autonomy, that's control over their life, and they're looking for social connection. So of course, social media gives all three of those, or at least the illusion of them. And that's why they're so tied in. Why are we so not happy about it? Why are we worried about it? 2 big talking points that we keep repeating here at Be in Touch: safety and sanity. Safety, there's incredibly inappropriate content that's on there, pornography and violence, cyberbullying, grooming, viral trends, a lot of misinformation. And then, of course, sanity, the sleep being one of the major ones, but anxiety, depression, and suicide, social pressure, sleep, body images, and a whole bunch more. So that's why we're concerned, and that's why we think that you should also be concerned. When we get into actual content itself, we're going to show you, we don't just take our word for it, we're going to show you content in these platforms that are concerning. So this first one over here, that young lady taking a photo of herself, that is an integration that Pornhub has with Snapchat. So you can get to Pornhub, which is one of the biggest pornography sites in the world, just from 5 clicks, and you never leave Snapchat. Another one, TikTok, definitely not appropriate content there. And on Instagram, all the way on the side there, there's an integration with a dating app called Tinder, where people can meet each other in person. And of course, that is not appropriate. Going back to that statistic, over 75% of kids between the grades 8 to 11 saying that they have been contacted by someone online. And as we can see here, we never know who's behind an emoji. You don't even know who's behind a real video these days with deep fakes. And so people are just creating any kind of account. And what is important here to realize is that your child or your student may be creating what is called a Finster account, which is a fake account. And making sure that you know what their real accounts is part of the settings or the approach to safety that we'll be covering in just a bit. Now, why? Why would kids take these risks? You know, on the top, just above me here, you've got the illusion that Snapchat has that their posts can disappear, which we know is not true because it can be captured in various ways. But remember that the more risky the content, the more infuriating the perspective, the more controversial the opinion, the more engagement they're going to get on that platform, the more influence they're going to have. So in the middle here, it's a girl talking about her cutting. On the side there, a girl talking about her, you know, her sexual life, very inappropriate, but that's what people are going to be commenting on and engaging with. So that's what teens are driven to the bottom of the barrel to post riskier and riskier content. Very hard for direct messaging to be monitored by parents. And so there's this privacy of this illusion of privacy and then misplaced trust in these online communities. You know, there's a lot of pressure, and you guys can relate to this, I'm sure, you know, just keeping up with the Joneses, as it were, you know, in our language, but people comparing themselves and teenagers comparing themselves to others. And nobody has a bad day on social media. The whole point is that, you know, teens are curating this life, and they actually go back and delete the posts that aren't getting the traction that they want. And they're constantly gauging themselves against that metric of, did the next post get more than the last post, making it very, very anxiety producing and creating a lot of what we call FOMO, fear of missing out. Selfie dysmorphia is a real thing. You know, this is just within an app. You know, back when I used to be a male model and I was, you know, traveling around the world, which is part of the story that I share with teens in schools around these illusions. But you know, in my world, you needed to pay someone to do that to your photo. Right now, it happens live. You know, I think Zoom might even have a plugin that does it. I promise I don't have one on right now. But kids are feeling more and more pressure. I mean, we've even seen the rising of third-party apps where children are paying a different app to boost the likes within social media. So there's a lot of pressure. And because of what we know about neuroscience, you know, this is not about even the moral conversation. This is just pure science that children are compelled. They are almost, you know, we use the word addicted quite openly or quite frequently. But the fact is that every time they get a response, because remember, they are biologically wired for status in groups, self-autonomy, and connection to others, they get a biological response to that like. It's called dopamine. It drives behavior, it drives memory. And of course, this device, as what happened in my life, becomes the first point of call when you are in any form of emotional distress. Maybe you're bored, maybe you're anxious, frustrated. Instead of learning the skills to go and deal with that situation in your life, pick up a phone, get all the dopamine that you need. And that is what we call addiction priming. In my life, I ended up with marijuana and alcohol abuse, which again, I talk to the kids about when I talk to them in schools and advise them not to set up these problems for later in life. Viral challenges, major issues, some of them wildly inappropriate, you know, in terms of making fun of certain cultures. You know, this particular one on the screen here was all about kicking your friend's legs out. A lot of head injuries coming from that. If you're not talking to your children about challenges, they're going to be taking part. Why? Because they're looking for social acceptance, just like we said. So they got to know that things are just a bad idea. Comments and bullying online. This is massive. We see this with our teens in our surveys. Every single school, it doesn't matter the age group, they are getting bullied online, and a lot of it happens when? Late at night. So we need to make sure that our children know that they can stop people commenting on posts if they're already in social media. And, you know, if they're not in social media, we want to keep them away. We want to say, no, don't get in there just yet. So insta-bullying is actually a term that's now been coined because kids are getting so nailed in that platform. And now, guys, we take a very quick turn into a serious area. These platforms are a pedophile's haven. And I don't say that lightly. I've grown up a lot since I started talking to teenagers. I used to get very concerned about what I was saying, but it turns out these kids are dealing with crazy stuff. As you saw in the stats from our surveys, more than 75% have been contacted by a stranger online. This profile over here was the result, and I have no scam with sharing that person's username because it was part of a recent study by the UK Child Protection Services and found that found that over 100 convicted pedophiles were openly using Instagram as a way to lure victims. TikTok and Snapchat are particularly bad because of their location sharing, and the Snap Map, which you can see in the bottom right, or sorry, bottom right of your screen, is of particular concern. Okay, so guys, I don't want you to just hear it from us. I'm going to show you a video now of two young people that we're big fans of, Smith Ali and Lydia, who's going to give us a little poem so that you can hear from them why we need you as parents, as teachers, to start taking this more seriously, to partner with us so that we can take care of your kids and make sure that they are safer and saner online. Let me be quiet and let's hear it from them.
Josh, sorry, won't you restart the video? You need to activate the sound buttons. They're not coming through.
Apologies on that. Sound buttons. I've got sound on my side. Okay. I'm going to put it through my mic. So here we go.
You'll see in just a little bit.
We got it.
We got a poem on the Screen Strong Family Podcast, and it was just amazing. So I reached out to her and asked her if she would be willing to record it for us. I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, here's another teen who's just giving me so much hope for our generation. I'm so grateful to have her on our team. I'm so grateful that she's doing what she's doing, and I hope you enjoy this.
Please help me save my generation. Our entire world is at risk of sinking. One swipe away, capsizing in abbreviations and crude videos. How come no one can see these screens hurting me? My generation is dying behind their screens, slowly rotting. When did it become okay to avoid social interaction? None of us know how to really, truly communicate. Sure, there's some good, but there's a lot more hate. Hold on to it to serve you on a pretty plate. To look at, not to eat. Here's some ugly stats on a pretty platter, even if I told you wouldn't matter, or would you just take a picture and comment, that's so sad. How are you not getting mad? Suicide in young girls, I'm talking age 10 to 14, has gone up 151% since social media became our main event. Middle schoolers are the first ones to go. High schoolers are soon to follow. You gave us a snake and condemned us for it biting. My generation is dying. Stop pumping us up with drugs and shrug away the fact that social media is taking your babies away. So here's my letter of resignation. I will not follow my generation into damnation. I refuse to fall into the followers' abyss. Sincerely, my generation to yours.
Very intense to listen to. I get emotional every time I listen to that. And what's on the screen right now is our first offense, right? It is age restrictions. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the fact that these devices, these platforms are not created for young people. You know, the apps themselves are set up at around 12 to 13, depending on, you know, which one you're talking about. But the real age limit should be 16, and we all know that. So if your child doesn't have WhatsApp, or sorry, not WhatsApp, one of these three, Snapchat, Instagram, or TikTok, hide behind the common sense media recommendation, hide behind the be in touch recommendation, and stand up and say, listen, you're just not going to get it, and we don't think your friends should have it either. If they do already have it, well, then cat's out of the bag, and it's now going to be very difficult to put that tiger back in its cage. But that's what we're going to do with the rest of this webinar. We're going to talk about the device settings that you can change to make it just a little bit safer. Okay, remember that children, their brains just don't have the the ability to think of think wisely and maturely about the decisions that they make on these platforms. And I guarantee you, no parent has ever said to me, man, I wish we had given our child social media earlier. Absolutely no parents would say that. So let's jump into what we can do now that your teen already has them. We have to talk to them. You have to know your teen's social media handles, their platforms that they're on. You have to know which ones they're using so that you can follow what they're doing online. And we're going to talk about some of the artificial intelligence that can help you do that. But you need to be in a relationship with them. Regulation is not going to work without some form of relationship. We need to be talking to them about questioning the source, about, where's this information coming from? Questioning the image, what is this thing that I'm seeing? Can I trust it? What does it say about me? What does it say about this other person? Get them to question their bias, to think about why they have the beliefs that they have. We're seeing more and more that people are polarized online. They're not able to get across that divide and say, what do you think? Convince me that I'm wrong. We need to help them understand the difference between facts and opinions, when to share and when to report. And, this reporting one is a big one, and it's going to come through in all the settings we talk about in the next 20 minutes, because helping your children set boundaries online is super important, both for the platform that is figuring out how to serve them content and for the people that are interacting with them on that platform. So let's jump into it. Let's make it safer. Okay, we're going to jump through the top settings changes, and there's a lot in here. So don't worry, we're going to be running another one of these webinars. I think we got Instagram next week, and then depending on the need, we'll be running them as and when we need them. And in the survey at the end, you can indicate your interest, and we'll be sure to service the needs that are there. Okay, but let's start with Snapchat. How do we make it safer? Number one, you got to change the settings. You got to choose who can make contact with your child, who can send notifications, and who can view the snaps that they create. Snaps are what they call every photo that they make or video on the platform. This is major. Turning off the snap map is essential, or using what's called ghost mode. On the top of the screen here, that's a map of America where everyone on Snapchat is visible. You can zoom in and you know exactly where the people are. In Natal, we had a big issue with this, with the looting, because children could see where people were looting, and some of them were like, oh, let's go check it out. Terrible idea. So we want to make sure that they understand that they got to hide their location. Reporting, blocking, and hiding. If you hold on a snap or a story and just click report snap, the fact that they make it that easy means that there's a lot of stuff on there that should be reported. But they can be reporting what's not appropriate and training that algorithm to only show them content that is appropriate. You have to understand that, and this goes for all of the platforms, if your child does not indicate through the age of birth, and that's the best thing they've got for age gating, if your child does not indicate that they are below 16 years old, the default settings are completely open, everything on, right? And that is a major issue. So you need to firstly make sure that your child is set it up with the correct age so that the default settings will be put in place. And even more importantly, teach them. Go and sit down side by side, get Snapchat on your phone and go through the settings together. That's how you're going to bridge this gap. Okay. Changing ad preferences on Snapchat, very important, because it's scooping up all that data, building a profile on what your child is sensitive to, and feeding them content. Okay. TikTok is actually doing the most, I would say, in terms of making things safer for families, which is not saying much, but what they do have is an amazing app or part of the app called family sharing. So family pairing, sorry. You need to get TikTok as a parent or an educator. Your child gets TikTok, and then you connect them both together, okay? So that your TikTok account manages their TikTok account. So if you do that, then you'll be sure to have access to everything that they're doing and making sure that their screen time settings are correctly in place, that they've got restricted mode on, that their search is set up, discoverability, their content control, and a bunch of other stuff. But let's go into more detail on what family pairing can do for you. Number one, it can help you manage screen time on TikTok. You can set those screen time limits with your child, which is very important that you keep the conversation with them open, that they know that if they follow the rules, they can earn more screen time. Teach them about contracting. Get a digital family alliance into your home. or talk to them at least about how much time they want to spend on that platform. Turning on restricted mode within TikTok is going to limit the adult content that they see, the inappropriate stuff. It's not going to block everything, but it's going to get you a little bit of the way there. Making sure that they've got a private account. Guys, this is absolutely foundational to every platform that they're using. Making sure that the accounts are set to private so that they don't just give out their content and are available to everyone. A good way to explain it to your child is to say, let's Google your school's name. And when you Google that, you see a website, right? It says the high school name. Now imagine that when you Google your child's name, a website came up and every TikTok video that they've got there is shown. That's what a public account is. Everything gets indexed on the web. Control who can message them. So kids are they have this idea that they have to be kind to everyone online. You know, we teach them to be kind in person, and that's great, right? But when it's online and somebody sends a message that they don't like, instead of just blocking the person straight away, if they don't know them in person, or commenting or reporting what they're doing, they just engage with the person. And that's how grooming happens. You know, a groomer doesn't say, hey, send me a naked picture of you. They say, hey, you look like an amazing person. You're so interesting. Oh, wow, you do so well at school. And they lure them in. It's called grooming that child, getting them to the point that they actually start giving away sensitive material. Don't let them do it. Tell them to block people they don't know. Your children need to be controlling who can duo and stitch with them. So this video that we can see that hopefully is playing behind me is what's called a stitch. Well, actually, this one's called a duo, where you can get different people's TikToks and put them together. Now, your child has to limit who can do that. Imagine your child puts a TikTok up and anybody can grab it and repurpose it out of context. It sounds like they're being racist or sexist, or they can get turned into any old thing. So you need to make sure that your children are not open to that kind of abuse by turning off who can control, doing duos and stitching with their TikToks. Stitching is when they can literally cut up the video itself and do whatever they want. Filtering and controlling comments. They can choose who comments on their videos. They can choose who can contact them. They have more power than they think, and they love power. Remember what I said about teenagers? They're looking for autonomy. They're looking for control. Give them the power. Tell them that they can block people. They can control comments. They'll love it. They obviously don't know about these settings because they're too busy TikToking. Okay, reporting, blocking, and hiding. On TikTok, you can follow a really great channel called TikTok Tips, and that'll give you a whole bunch of safety advice. And again, reporting and blocking, very easy to do. Just long tap on a video and tap not interested. You're going to be training that algorithm because algorithms are part of our lives now. And either you got good ones protecting you or bad ones taking advantage of you. Changing ad preferences on TikTok, exactly the same, because you don't want them to be, and it's not about utility. It's not about your child getting an advert that they might be interested in. Adverts are not targeting the psychological weaknesses of our children. So if your child has shown that they're quite anxious, then that's going to be used against them to make them try to buy something. Okay, third one of the lot, and then we're going to have quite a bit of time for the Q&A and chat, which I'm very excited about. How to make Instagram safer. Instagram is one of the biggest platforms that we see this abuse having an impact on. And in fact, that's where that term Insta-bully comes from, because that's literally where this stuff is happening. And teenagers, one of the questions we asked them in the survey is, can you advise us on what platforms we should tell young people to stay away from? Number one, Instagram, because that's where the bullying happens. Okay. Again, in Instagram, you can manage that screen time. You can set that daily limit. And you got to speak to your teenager about how they feel when they use the app. Talk to them about, what are you trying to get out of the app? Are you using it to relax? Are you using it to build a brand? Are you using it to connect with your friends? Are you using it to zone out? If they know the reason why, they're going to have better insights into what they do on that platform. Top tip, set a reminder on your phone with a question to ask your child about their digital life. I'm going to give you some great questions as we get towards the end of the webinar, which is coming up. Number two, managing privacy on Instagram. One little toggle, the world of difference. Same story. If they're under 16, it's wide open, and they sign up with a date of birth. They probably put anyone in there. So you got to go and make sure that that privacy setting is turned on. and make sure that you know their Instagram account so that you can follow them online and you can see what they're doing. You can start crossing that digital divide. Same story, managing and filtering comments. They can choose. It's all about boundaries. It's all about encouraging them to take control of their social media experience. They don't have to just take what is fed to them. They can do something about it. Give them the power. Okay, location private. You got to understand why this is important. Even photos on Instagram are geotagged. So let's say your child takes a photo of their face, no uniform badge in there, no school photo behind them, because they know they'll get in trouble for that. If the geotag's on there, somebody's going to see that there was a child at this location at 1:30 p.m. Chances are they'll be there tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Turn off geotagging. Definitely not worth it. Okay, stopping the scrolling. Another top tip here. You'll notice that on Instagram, once you've seen every post from everyone that you followed, you get this little pop-up that says you're all caught up. You've seen all the new posts from the past 3 days. And that is a moment to stop. And these are the moments that you need to build into your teenager's life or your student's life. Any moment that is a transition, that is a movement from one thing to the next, that's where these devices are manipulating us into keeping going. So use this as an opportunity for them to say, okay, I'm caught up. I don't have to keep going. Same thing with autoplay. Turn that off. Same thing with notifications that come from anyone other than a person, which means don't let Snapchat send you a notification unless a person has clicked a button that said, send you a notification. So turn off all non-human notifications. Okay. Reporting and blocking, exactly the same thing. Just make sure that your child is not taking any abuse and that they're exercising their right to set boundaries. So that, and then finally, of course, changing the ad preferences and making sure that that is, set up on your phone so that you don't get plagued with the kind of content that is not appropriate. Okay, so we're now going to go into a little bit of a summary on this and then start taking you through some other solutions that are available. So our top tips in the space, definitely, we're wanting you to agree that your tech use limits, and we're wanting to make sure that you talk to your teenager about their teenage life. Getting devices out of rooms. This is one of the biggest ones. We know that cyberbullying happens late at night. We know that children have their devices in their bedrooms. So get the devices out of their rooms. Keep checking in and checking up and talk to your teen about what they are experiencing online. I'm going to read you something that's on the screen right now. It's from one of the best books I've read about this raising children in the tech age. And when I say this in workshops, it drops parents to the ground. They are still as a library in that room. Maybe the reason some parents don't know what is going on with their children and technology is that they don't know what is going on with their children at all. We have to understand that our children's digital lives are their real lives. So 4 awesome questions. Take a little snapshot of the screen right now so that you can get these questions. Put a reminder in your phone to ask one of these questions, 1 per day, and just rotating. What do you like about it? Can you teach me how? Put them in the driver's seat, give them that autonomy. Can you teach me how TikTok works? How does it make you feel? What does it stop you from doing? Kind of open-ended questions that invite your child to tell you about what they're experiencing online. So we are here to partner with you to be alerted. We know that there's been a lot in this session, and we're very excited to make a big announcement that I mentioned in the beginning of the talk. We are here to help you to be alerted. We use Bergh and Griffin. Griffin is a router. Bergh is a social media integrated algorithm that monitors your children's devices. It's one of our favorites. It sends you a notification on anything that is concerning in your child's online use. And then it gives you tips on how to talk to your child about it, which is absolutely amazing because it's not about the regulation. It's about the relationship. Very, very important. What we also are seeing is that this actually gives your child more privacy because you don't have to scan through everything. They are afforded just a little bit of privacy because you only get a notification on the concerning content. So that's anything from cyberbullying to predation to depression, body image issues, and a whole bunch more. What is also very exciting is that there is a version that is available for schools. So all the school educators and masters and principals that we saw in the chat in that poll, there is an integration for G Suite and for Microsoft 365. It includes moderation of content and web filtering. I'm going to send through that survey at the end of this talk. And if you indicate your interest, we're going to be able to build a list of at least 50 schools, take that back to Bergh from the United States and say, guys, we need Bergh available in South Africa as soon as possible. So help us build that interest, help us, motivate them to get Bergh into our schools so that we can protect our kids. We're here to help you be in the know. We've got free resources. We've got free articles. You don't have to give us your email address. Just go to our website, beintouch.org.za, and read about it. Download a device advice contract, a digital family alliance contract, or a smartphone contract, or follow the guide to talk to your children about pornography. We're here to partner with you to be inspired. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook and Twitter. We post humor every week because you got to have a sense of humor about this stuff. It's just too intense not to. So we try and keep it light, but we try and keep it incisive so that you know what's going on and you can speak to the needs of your child. We are here to partner with you for you to be conscious. On our site, you can get a lot of recommendations, great books to read, get a charging station to get those devices out of your bedroom. The irony of this thing is that we call it a phone. Kids don't use it as a phone. They use it as an alarm clock, as a calendar, as a social media platform. They hardly ever call people. So if your child says they need an alarm clock in their phone, get them an alarm clock. Take the phone out of those bedrooms. And then, of course, we're here to help you be on top, which means you got to keep coming back to these webinars, learning more. It's not a one and done. We're here to partner with you in the long term. We've got an Instagram webinar deep dive in next week, Wednesday at 12 noon is our time. But again, if you complete the survey, then we'll be able to send you an invite to that directly. So thank you. I want to really, really thank you for your time and your attention. We've finished a little bit early, which is absolutely astounding because now I get to interact with the chat. I'm going to paste that survey link into the chat. I think Kate is going to post it as well as myself to make sure it's there. And I'm going to hand back to Riaan. I'm sure he's got some questions that he's got for me, and we can unpack just a little bit more about how we can help you guys.
Josh, thanks so much. Yeah, I think it's a whirlwind session. You called it in the beginning. It's really busy and a lot of information. Maybe if I can just make one or two comments about it, coming from the FEDSAS side, the school side, and so happy to see so many parents here. What I find difficult, and Josh, maybe we can talk about this just in about 30 seconds. Parents contact the schools and say the kids are bullying each other on phones. Parents contact us and post on the social media pages for parents, which is Facebook and the the older generation ones. So we can't believe what the kids are doing on social media. My question is always, where does the child and the learner get the device? So we are in one sense, and that video, the chilling video of that poem, you're giving us a snake and complaining that we're being bitten. And I think this is where parents need to kind of just step up. I'm a father of a 11-year-old and a 10-year-old, and they don't have their own phones, but yet I drive technology in schools. But my daughter, the 11-year-old, is probably one of 3 in her grade that do not have their own phones, which is a paradox. The second one that I quickly want to throw into is parents are always difficult, upset, complain. I don't know what the word is, and I'm throwing it to the parents now. The school must fix all the security, but we don't take responsibility at home for it. So you've spoken to a lot of parents. You're doing what advice? I think what I want to point to is, should we have a wake-up call at the household? Because the school is just an extension of the household. And the SGB and the school management team and the rules and code of conduct at schools can't fix the values and the issues coming from the parental control side of things. Your thoughts and comments on that?
Yeah, absolutely, Riaan. We have this very simple image of 2 people standing with a net, a digital safety net, and a child that's falling through the middle. The parents on the one side and the teachers on the other side. The teachers, their duty is to educate and to guide. Parents, their role is to monitor and manage. So between the two of them, that's what's going to catch our children that are falling into this digital divide. Schools cannot be expected to be monitoring and dealing with digital drama daily. You know, they are trying to get through their curriculum. They are trying to get the educational outcomes completed in their schools. And it's the parents that need to be taking a more active role. So this is one of the big points that we make when we work with schools, is that schools need to help parents understand their digital parenting role, and schools need to ensure that they are doing what they need to be doing in terms of making the webinars available, which, you know, we partner with them to make them available for free. And so that when parents come to the teachers, they can say, listen, did you go to this webinar that we sent you the link for? Did you look at this parental control that our partner Be in Touch recommended? They've got to stand behind the actions and justifiably say, we've done our bit, it's now up to you. We are here to educate and to guide. You are here to monitor and manage.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think that's one of the key messages. It's a partnership between the suppliers of the devices, the parents,
yeah.
and then the school, which is the space that the collective users get together. And this is the space that we're in, and that's why we're advising. I see that there's a slight problem on the form, so I don't know if Kate can just check on that.
I've sorted that out. I apologize for that. I did jump out, and we're getting responses coming in, so thank you. And we will definitely choose both a parent and a school to give you guys a prize for that. We really appreciate you taking part. For parents, that'll be a device advice call with me, a 30-minute chat about your family situation and how we can help. And then for schools, that'll be a webinar similar to the one that we've given at the moment. But ideally, the school would want to be doing a digital wellness survey, which we also talk about in that link that we've sent. Can we open up to any other questions from any of the attendees? If you've got any questions, just post them in the chat.
Looking at the Q&A, we had a request for the videos, but Kate said we'll share that afterwards, and then the form. I've got two more comments. The one is possibly in summary, parents or owners of the device. It's a settings thing. If I see what you did there, that is not tough. It's not difficult. Read from top left to bottom right, and ensure that you are knowledgeable. It's once again coming to the example of the car. Buy the car, be the good parent, be the parent that gives, but then make sure there's a license, make sure the car has brakes, make sure the car has good tires, make sure. So it's just one step further. And I know this has been running fast and furious beyond our quick grasp and understanding, but those are quick wins that we can have. The second one is Josh, contract. Should we have a contract of use between parents and learners or children of that device? Anecdotally, I heard someone say the other day, they've got a 10-page contract between the parent and the child, hours, usage, content. And the one said, but the biggest one is don't do anything on your phone that your grandmother can't see. Is there a contract that you guys maybe have? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Before I do that, I'm going to help everyone take a big breath, a sigh of relief. I'm posting a secret weapon right now into the chat. It's called the Bergh-o-matic, and it was created by Bergh. If you go to that website, you click on all the apps that your child has, and it will create a list of the settings you need to change. It's an insane piece of software. We wanted to build it in our own ecosystem, and then we found that Bergh had already done it. Another reason why we love them. So I've just put that there. That's a little, thank you for staying to the end to the chat. So have a look at that, and I'll talk about these contracts. So firstly, before we get into the one that is available on our website for free download, our lives as adults are determined by contracts. Our lease, our purchasing of our home, our car rentals, our employment status, our insurance, everything, our marriages, exactly, are determined by contracts. Why do we let our children get all the way to adulthood, and then they have to, the first time they try and rent an apartment in university is the first time they see a contract, and they go, oh, well, Dad, ID is verified. Well, start the conversation about contracting with your child early. It can be about device use. Yes. What are the tech rules in my home? What are the device smartphone contracts? You know, what are the consequences of misuse? What are the bonuses of proper use? You know, all of these ways that you can teach your child about being an adult. And then it's important. This is very, very important. Your job as an adult, as a parent, is to simply act confused when they break the contract. You say to them, I don't understand. You knew that if you went 5 minutes over, you would lose 3 days. So I'm not angry. I just don't understand. Why would you make that choice? You knew it's on the contract. You know, it's very clear. So I guess that's what you want. The other point is that they can upgrade those contracts, right? So this is a young adult contract. This is a little boy contract. If you want the terms of the adult contract, you got to act like the expectations on the adult contract. So there's a lot in it that we can't talk about right now. I see that Kate has posted one of our the links in there to our resource page. Everything there's for free. Just go grab it. Cell phone contracts, device, Digital Family Alliance, which is kind of a more overarching contract, but it's not a contract. The contract doesn't hold the power. The relationship with your child holds the power. The contract is a symbol. It is a reference. It is a backup so that you don't have to be the mean person. You say, look, we agreed it. It's on the fridge. The contract is there. You can go check the terms. If you want to argue with me, perfect. Go look at the contract. You signed it. They have to start understanding that commitments have to be kept and that they can earn extra privileges by following the rules that you agreed together. Together being the big word.
Absolutely. No, good one.
Yeah.
Josh, I think we've basically run out of time, but there's still quite a few members of the audience on hand. Your contact details are on the screen. You know, so there's a call to action in the survey form, and someone will be contacted. I just want to thank you. I think in FEDSAS, we've been saying for the past 4 or 5 years, I don't know, previous SGB election cycle, we do what we do because we love our schools, we love our country, and we love our kids. We love our learners. So I think this is part of the love and the tough love that comes with it, but also the understanding, the immersing of what world our learners are in. I've got this in my hand. I showed you before, and this is what I got taken away from me in grade 4. What's it, standard 2? Because all kids were doing this, and not now. Teachers wish the kids would do this because they're all doing this. So let's just get the relativity of things right, and just, you know, get some balance in our lives. So I want to thank you for the work that you guys are doing at Be in Touch. I think it's digital wellness activists is what you're saying. So we need to be well in this new world. It's cyber safety and mental health month. We want to ensure that our kids are in good shape. They're ending off a long year. They're writing exams, our matriculants, in a tough time, and possibly spending more time on social media now in this time. So yeah, let's have some love for our learners, but some of it might be tough. Want to thank you and shout out to you. We're going to close the session shortly. I just want to say who the winner is, and I see there's a little bit of a debate about what the first video was on MTV in 1981. It is Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles, but I see that
makes sense.
Some sites, exactly. Some sites say it might be Dire Straits and Money for Nothing. I think that's part of the top 10. But definitely Video Killed the Radio Star, because the message was there's something that's going to happen on a screen. We thought it was going to happen with TV. Didn't happen that much, but it started happening with the internet and mobile devices in a bigger way. So we killed some stars from the past, and that's the message of it. Let's be attentive to what our kids do. Josh, Kate, thank you for joining us. All the audience, we're going to close the session. Anyone want to follow up, get our details, the winner of the prize, Anya Nota, I'll contact you, and we've got a special something for your school or the school that you're related to. And have a great day. Take care of yourselves and your learners. Be safe. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys. Thank you so much. We look forward to being in touch.